Okay, and the last bit of terminology in discussions that we need to have in terms of what you need to expect and be ready to hear and be ready to be referenced when I'm doing my programming or referencing things is a term called irradiation. And what I mean by irradiation, if you Google it in terms of physical fitness training or strength training, irradiation is something that is referring to the energy and intensity, the stiffness that you can generate within your internal self. And the way that you can vary that. If you think about it this way, think about it like a dimmer switch on a light. If I slowly dial that up, what'll happen is that light will slowly get brighter. Or if I dial it down, the light will get slowly darker, or the room will get slowly darker. Same idea with irradiation. If you think about, if you've ever done a 1 rep max of any sort of exercise, let's take the bench press. A lighter bench press for you is going to require less energy and less stiffness from you. So you ever seen somebody do a very heavy bench press, you'll see them kind of position themselves, spread their legs, maybe really grip the floor, arch their back, and get really stiff and push and use every muscle in their body to push that weight. That is called irradiation. So when we do these controlled articular rotations, that is what I'm going to be wanting from you, and I'm going to be trying to do and demonstrate and talk through myself, so that you can understand that when we do a controlled articular rotation for a specific joint, it will be that joint, only that joint at that particular time that we're trying to move. Case in point, if I don't irradiate enough of my body or enough energy through my body and stay stiff everywhere else, and I do a shoulder car, a normal shoulder car should look like this. I should stiffen up everywhere, and I'm working on my right shoulder right now. I'm gonna clench my fists, squeeze my forearm. Right now I'm squeezing my butt cheeks, I'm squeezing my quads, digging my toes in the ground, I'm squeezing my abs, and I'm tensing up everywhere, and I'm just gonna work this. So as you can see, the only thing moving on me right now are the tissues, bones, and different components of my shoulder. So that's what we wanna do when we do any sort of controlled articular rotation. The opposite would be you're kind of loose everywhere, and as I move, I'm not just moving my shoulder, okay? So that is not something that's going to be beneficial in terms of what we're trying to accomplish with trying to do these controlled articular rotations, at least through the Move for Life program. It's not that it's bad, it's not that it's not useful in terms of just generating movement and heat and energy, but it's not useful for the purposes of why you would want to do these controlled articular rotations. So therefore you got to understand irradiation. So the other part of your radiation is everything's not going to be, it's not like a light switch without a dimmer. So if I turn a light switch on that doesn't have a dimmer, light comes on, maximum light. Let's do this right now. So I turn the light off, whoop, light on, okay? That's not what we want here. I know I walked out of the camera, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So if I turn the light switch straight off and on, it comes on and off. With irradiation, what we want to be able to do is be a dimmer switch. We want to be able to generate energy and tension throughout our body in a very controlled kind of a ramp up fashion. And so it's something that's going to be individual to you. It's going to be felt inside you. Even if I talk you through it, you can't see it in me. In certain positions, you may see some shake if I'm really, really irradiating at a certain point or a certain position. But in general, it's just something you've got to get acclimated to doing. And the only way I can really explain it is if you've done a 1 rep max against like bench press, squat, you know the type of energy and what it feels like to exert all of your body into moving an object or into moving in one direction. That is what I want to be able to do. So I want to so if I slowly clench my fist like this, that's what I want to feel in terms of tension throughout my body. So if I say 50%, it's going to look like this. If I go 60%, it's a little bit more. 70% is a little bit more. 80% is a little bit more. 90%, a bit more. 100%, I can barely talk if I'm really doing it. Okay, so that's the idea. Just want to cover that before we actually get into the cars. And here we go.